Uh, Let me check. I think we are live now. Let's just wait for my viewers to come in muna before we formally start. Okay, I think we can start na, right, Bunny?
Yeah, we can start.
Yeah. So, maulang hapon sa lahat. We are now live. Actually, before that, I'll just meet the slide first. Yeah, we are now live. Welcome to Work from Home Pythonista. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are your hosts, Zorex,
And I am Vani.
and we are both members of the Board of Trustees of Python Philippines.
Work from Home Pythonista is a monthly webinar talk show series where we interview Pythonistas representing various roles and industries to give people in the community an insight of what a typical workday looks like. And we also showcase how Pythonistas think outside the box while being inside the comforts of their own home or digital nomad setup. So the event goals for today is to give a sense of community and get inspired by fellow Pythonistas. Second, we can also showcase how Pythonistas think outside the box. And lastly, we can also discuss tech trends and forecasts. And usually it depends on our featured speaker for that month.
Yep. So for our guest for today is Jeff Paredes. Jeff is a software engineer enabling business automation processes, web applications, and digital wallet services. Now a Pythonista that automates stuff at the Philippine Digital Asset Exchange, or PDAX. So guys, let's welcome Jeff. Jeff, the floor is yours. Stop. Okay.
Yep. Thank you so much, Zorex and Vani. I hope everyone is having a good weekend. Jeff here, and thank you for Python Philippines for inviting me for this month's episode of Work from Home Pythonista. So for now, I'm going to share my screen. Yep, and I have some presentation that I prepared. There we go. Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Paredes. I'm a software engineer for Philippine Digital Asset Exchange. Little bit short background about me. I started as a junior programmer way back in 2016. Since then, I've handled and worked with API development, web applications, mobile applications. I've handled clouds such as Amazon Web Services, microservices development, and some a little bit of DevOps. And now as a programmer, a Pythonista working for PDAX for mostly business automation. A little bit of my workstation. I have a MacBook Pro M1, a laptop stand. I have a basic M800 mic condenser. Some merch provided by PDAX is the mobile stand. Notes. I have a mechanical keyboard and a wireless mouse. Maybe I can show you some walkthrough on my device. So yep, I've been using this for a while now. I have a Logitech wireless keyboard, mouse, and then some aluminum laptop stand for day-to-day activities. And I highly suggest you, for someone who's developing or software development, I highly suggest you get this cool Keychron keyboard. This is a mechanical keyboard. Yep. As you can hear, it's very much a mechanical. Oh yeah. So get some of those so you can invest on a good mechanical keyboard. Insight on my day-to-day activities. I've been using Visual Studio Code for development. I have Docker containers for my workspaces, for Python workspace. For cloud, I'm heavily using Amazon Web Services to deploy applications and host applications in the cloud. We're heavily using Atlassian's products such as Confluence, Jira for project management. And for my languages, I've handled lots of languages, but my primary is Python and Node.js for API and general programming development. And of course, it's necessary for Lofi Girl to be here while working. Yeah. And I'm also using Gitmoji to include a little bit of emoji while for my Git commits. So that's very useful for me. So a little bit of recommended VS extensions that I use is this. I have YAML file for YAML language support. I'm heavily using SAM or serverless application model for AWS. So I use AWS Toolkit. Remote containers for repository, Docker repository, and workspaces. And then if I want to view some Git branches or Git history, I use Git graph. For GitHub pull requests and issues, I use this. And then of course I have a Jira and a Bitbucket extension. For Python development, I recommend installing the Python extension pack. It's composed of different extensions such as pylons and other unit testing stuff. Beautify is deprecated, but this is very important for me because I can easily beautify such as JSON file, HTML file, CSS file, and even Python scripts. Yeah, a little bit walkthrough on my day-to-day activities with these tools is, for example, here. Don't worry, this is not a private Jira. This is a public board. So, yep, if you're familiar with Jira, we use Jira for project management. We have these like cards as a tickets for each of our tasks. And we just drag it using the Kanban board from, for example, to do, in progress, and then completed tasks. So sometimes I also, if I'm not doing my task on or developing on Python applications, I usually do cloud designing. So for example, we have this AWS cloud design. So I usually have this like a documentation like to create the cloud resources using a template in CloudFormation or AWS. So that's my day-to-day activity as a Pythonista. And so interest and hobbies, I usually game stuff with my Xbox. So I play Elden Ring. So that's my game as of the moment. And I also do some Internet of Things. So if you're familiar with Arduino, Raspberry Pi, such as embedded programming, this is something that I've been doing for a long time. I'm also interested with applications in blockchain or cryptocurrency in general. So I'm really hoping I can join the blockchain development or industry for future projects. So a day, more meetings, continuous integration and continuous deployment pipeline, unit testing, integration testing of my application. And then not so a day in the life is like, of course, food, watching some performances, gym, and then going to the bar. Maybe I can share with you my a day, for example, here. So I'm using Bitbucket here and Bitbucket pipeline to develop a pipeline for continuous integration, continuous deployment. I'm still learning Python since there's still room for improvement. And if I'm not working or I'm not developing stuff, I do sometimes go outside in BGC in the city town. And then, more meetings and then more meetings, gaming, sometimes watching basketball. Foods. I like drinking soju while gaming. And then more BGC here. And then going to the bar. That's my day. That's my daily life. Okay. And then so far, that's mostly my day-to-day activities. And what do I have here next? I think that's all for my presentation. Thank you so much.
Cool. Yes. it's pretty balanced, if I must say, right? Like you, I have this question to you, Jeff. How many deaths yet did you have in Elden? Elden, what game is that? Elden Ring?
Yep, I'm still starting at Elden Ring. I've defeated the first and the second boss. I'm now working on to defeat the third boss. So that's like 5% of the game.
uh, I
So
heard
I'm
that.
still
Yeah,
working on it.
yeah. That Souls game is very hard.
Very
So
hard. Yep.
yeah.
Even the like the side quests or the um the guards of the building is really tough. You have to beat.
Okay. Again, thank you so much, Jeff, for your very wonderful presentation. We have a question here at our Zoom meeting. So Nico asked, do you use Zappa when deploying Python apps to AWS?
Zappa. I'm not yet working. I haven't touched Zappa yet, but for Python, we heavily use AWS dev tools such as AWS Code Deploy and then build artifacts and then code pipeline. So we heavily use that. We also use AWS Cloud Formation to develop our infrastructure in AWS and then just let the AWS DevOps tools to deploy the stuff.
See. I think Zappa is for serverless. Are you using AWS serverless for?
Yep, we're heavily
Ah,
using serverless,
okay.
AWS serverless like Lambda functions.
I see. I see. Yeah. I'm just gonna share. I'm using Zappa for deploying a backend like a fast API app. Yeah. So I guess that's the use case for Zappa for me. Yeah. Uh, can you share what are the like what is the use of serverless in your workflow or
Yep. For me, as a Python developer or as a backend engineer, I'm mostly part of the backend engineer. So the use of serverless is mostly on the backend side. For example, processing transaction coming from an API back to the backend and then processing those application or order or processes, transferring those transactions to our providers, such as, for example, a bills payment, or is it a transfer to the banks, and then processing those transactions. So serverless, such as Lambda functions, is heavily used for that. So it's like a little bit of microservices going in the background, in the back of a API or web applications.
yeah.
Yeah. Just to add on that, since we're already talking about your day-to-day work, uh, just want to know more kasi 'di ba you're from PDAX or Philippine Digital Asset Exchange, and just more clarity on what types of use cases or applications using Python, or maybe not, just to expound more on your day-to-day tasks, maybe, or some projects that you have handled as a software engineer.
Yep. For PDAX, I'm heavily working for business automation. So,
Mm.
for example, if there is a project that requires a manual processing by different departments, such as, for example, if you're familiar with service or rewards flow, like, for example, you're given a referral code to get more users, and then by redeeming those referral code, you get something in return. So for example, for PDAX, we have that referral code wherein you can get 50 pesos worth of Bitcoin in return. So those are something that we usually have a projects with. So for example, if the department has to if the person has to redeem those voucher code. For example, a department needs to verify those. A department needs to fund that transaction or fund the a source wallet, and then initiate a transfer from PDAX to that user. And then another thing is verification again. So if those process requires manual processing, as a backend engineer, I'm tasked to automate those stuff. So I developed things like in Python in microservices is to collect those redemption, such as an order, collect a redemption, and then process a dealing of fund or crypto, and then save the fund and then transfer it to the PDAX user. So all of that I have to automate those things using Python. Another thing is in PDAX as a software engineer for business automation is I'm also tasked to do automation for something as like reports and data analytics. For example, if a report is being collected and being processed by people manually, I'm tasked to do the automation as that. So for example, if there's two reports that needs to combine together, I have to develop a Python application wherein I can pull out those data, combine that together, and then give something in like an output of the consolidated reports.
Yeah. I have a question as well. This is maybe outside PDAX na. So this is for everyone who's interested in cryptocurrency who codes in Python. What boring task would you recommend to us that we can automate? Yeah, like I think last time I tried playing around with CoinGecko API, so so that I can pull the prices, etc. So what would you recommend for us, like aside from that?
Yeah, the boring stuff. Yeah. So for that, I'm also using Python like to gather information like in the web applications such as, for example, Coinbase or the CoinMarketCap APIs. So I can use like Python to get the daily details and then automate the stuff, like inform me via Slack or inform me via Discord what is the actual value of those, something like that. And then for the boring stuff, you can also do something like automation, like for example, if you're daily reporting to your project manager, like what is your daily, like for example, the Scrum ceremony, if you're familiar with Scrum ceremony, that like the daily stand-up, like you have to inform via Slack, like you have a task, this is your to-do list, this is your impediments, and this is your development. You can also do that you can also automate that boring stuff using Python, like get the details from your task list, and then combine those list, and then put that in your Slack channel, and then directly message your PM using Python. So that are the boring stuff that you can automate at work as well.
Yeah, I can can do that. I think I need to do that because so my boss won't chat me every time to ask for updates.
I have experience wherein we have to like submit a metric reports in PDF file every day, like every morning or something like that. So we can like track what's happening, what's the status, are we doing good? So what I did is I automated using Python applications. Like I download the PDF file from the sources or create a PDF file from their sources and then chat it using Python to the boss, something like that.
Yeah, and that works well. So your boss doesn't really feel like it's being sent by a robot or something.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to inform as well your boss that you're automating stuff. So that's very important.
Because it's funny when, he feels like he's getting updates from a robot
bot.
or, yeah. Tapos di na niya alam kung, so nasaan ka dun sa part na yun, no?
Yeah.
Okay. For our audience here, both in Zoom and in YouTube, so we are having a live stream as well there. You can ask questions, keep your questions coming, and this is really the portion where we can ask Jeff any questions, any curious questions that you have. Okay. So, Zorex, do you still have questions on your end? You want to ask?
Yep. I guess kung tama yung pagkakarinig ko, yung Python is outside crypto or blockchain tech pa rin, no?
Python.
Do you think in the near future we can like integrate Python directly with how we develop blockchain or something? Actually, I'm not sure if if that
Yeah.
question is
Yeah. Blockchain application is like very much a hype right now. So ang daming opportunities and application ng blockchain as well for tech services. Sa tingin ko, what we can do with Python is like we can develop a framework wherein we can develop a blockchain framework using Python. So so far I've heard na sa blockchain development ang ginagamit nila is, for example, is Solidity. Yeah, they use Solidity. So it's very much like blockchain development. So if ever we can develop a Python framework wherein we can create blockchains and contracts, that would be better. That would be good.
Okay, so we have questions here on our chat. So Jose asked, maybe this is what is or are the tech stack of PDAX. So as a follow-up, big crypto companies are trimming employees same with PDAX, or maybe you can choose to answer only the topics that can be publicly disclosed.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure if I can disclose yung tech stack ni PDAX, but for the siguro I can share with you the languages that we've been using sa PDAX. So very dynamic naman yung languages ni PDAX sa amin sa development namin. So we have like Go language, we have Python, we have Node.js, very much for API development and backend microservices. So those are the top languages that we use. Do I use Django framework when deploying website or just a plain Python in the backend? So for business automation, we're mostly backend side, so we don't usually dependent on the framework such as Django. So if we were to use a very extensive or big application or API, we'll definitely use Django because of its ability as an API framework. But I suggest if we were to develop a simple like API or backend microservices or like a small API, I heavily use Flask, or we use API gateways, if you're familiar with API gateways, and then a little bit of Lambda functions for serverless. For a service type of a web services type of API, we're heavily dependent of like the request library of Python.
Yeah.
So it's not a framework, it's not a library, it's like a built-in in Python, but it's very secured. So you can make sure that it's not it's being maintained by Python, and you don't like have a dependencies with Django or Flask. And then the third one is sabi dito, big crypto companies are trimming employees, same with PDAX. Actually, no. Crypto companies are actually very hype as of the moment, and they're very aggressive. That's different from what's happening now that we are in the bear market in terms of cryptocurrency. So what I can say is that whoever wins this bear market in terms of fintech standpoint will be the next like Google, the next Amazon in the future. So, and then I would say PDAX, I guess, is very much what I can say. Nasabi ko na kanina, aggressive in terms of employee hiring.
Yeah. to add to that also, other wallet or wallet services are jumping into crypto na right now,
Yep.
right?
Yep. So
So-
coins has started already. Maya has their own cryptocurrency platform na. And then soon si GCash, I guess,
Oh.
kasi hindi naman siguro sila magpapahuli. So sila na lang. And then if just an information, BSP also developing their own stable cryptocurrency pegged in the Philippine peso. So
Oh.
that will be released, I guess, they said quarter 4. That's BSP, ah.
Yeah.
So that's the Philippines, like, yeah.
It's bagong news siya talaga sa akin na nag-venture din pala sila sa stable coins or something.
Mhm.
May feeling lang ako na irony in terms of that. Kasi di ba yung cryptocurrency is more on the decentralization, right? And then we have centralized part of the government
Yeah.
trying to also pumunta rin dun sa cryptocurrency. But anyway, we'll see more in the future. I think that's also
Yeah.
an interesting thing.
I think it's more of the application of blockchain technology. Imagine
Yeah.
our budget, our government budget are all stored in a blockchain history. We can tell whoever accept the transaction, whoever
Yeah.
gets the budget. We can
That's-
trace all that, and then we can verify who received it because of the blockchain technology.
Yeah, that's interesting, no? But without being very political about it, parang matatrack din natin, well, if you're tracking spending, sino yung nakaka-receive ng budget, sinong naglalaan ng budget na yon, then it's might be
Yeah.
one or part of the solution for uh money leakages, I would say. I don't want to use corruption on this, pero
Yeah.
yung mga ganong issues, right? Yeah, very good application.
Yeah, I think anything modern innovation in terms of technology will be benefit for the Philippines. I guess our president Marcos already stated that they're heavily investing on or tech modernization. So that's a good news for us.
Okay, medyo lumayo tayo ng onte sa pero yeah, that's a good topic. Pero going back, since you're working in a like financial technology company, syempre sobrang critical ng mga processes, etc. So question is, when a problem gets too hard, what do you do?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Sometimes if there's a problem, I sometimes ask or request for like a one-on-one meeting with my project manager and then explain in a very much detail or the objectives how we can resolve those problems. So mahirap kasi as an employee, ang pinakamahirap sa trabaho is kapag merong impediments or blockers at hindi mo magawa yung task mo. Dahil wala kang discretion or there's a problem, yun yung pinakamahirap as a software engineer. So it's always, I suggest always try to remove blockers and impediments by talking to different departments or to the people who are involved in the project.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, how about you, Bani? Do you have more questions to Jeff?
Yeah, so medyo nagiging technical yung mga topic natin.
Hindi ko alam kung naasagot ko yung tanong ni Zorex.
I think it does.
Yeah.
Kasi di ba naman yung mga blockers can be technical side, can be on
It can be non-technical.
non-tech,
Yeah.
like what you said, communication with different departments and so on. So yeah. And to medyo focus naman tayo on the work from home stuff.
Yeah.
Let's of course maybe I'm not sure if are you working from home 100% or
Yep, we're working from home as of the moment.
yeah. Okay, so I think this is a question for you. Can you share work hacks and productivity tools that you use to efficiently work from home? Especially, I think we've been doing it for years now, but of course there are always new ways to increase productivity and efficiency while working at home.
Yeah. Yeah, working from home, work hacks. All right. So for me, if I were to like manage my projects or tasks, I use Trello board so I can list down my tasks for today, and then track from the Trello board yung mga list of to do things ko, and then I can use a Kanban board to like visualize ano yung mga natapos ko na, ano yung mga hindi ko pa natapos, and something like that. And then if you have like a team of people, or if you're in a team of people, or you're handling a team of people, I highly suggest yung oh my god, nakalimutan ko. Gartner.io. Ayun. So I guess ano, yung virtual workspace wherein you can like it's like a virtual simulation of your office, and then you can go to a table and then talk to each other. Yeah. So for peer-to-peer working from home, and then if you're doing a peer-to-peer programming, that would really help. And then outside of my room, um, one of the perks of work from home is you can always work anywhere, anytime. So for example, if you want to work in BGC, you can do that. If you want to do a different cafe, you can do that. If you want to work in the province in Boracay, you can do that. That's one of the benefits of working from home. And then life hacks as well. As a software engineer, it is a heavily a result-based work. So sometimes if I don't like working in the afternoon because it's really hot, or it's like I'm I mean naantok ka, you can always do your task at night. So yun yung kagandahan sa work from home. So that's something that life hacks as a work from home employee.
All right. So yeah. So this is a follow-up question. Since you said that you're working at night, so like how do you protect your time if you like if you cannot do the task this at this moment, like you work on it on night? How do you protect your time if you do it like that? Or
Mm. How do I
so
at least?
yeah, or do you have like until you only gonna work until this time or something?
For me, for my experience, if it is out of work na, for example, if 6 p.m., like always try to like turn off na yung communication. If hindi naman kailangan, like turn off your Slack, turn off your laptop. So you know you can like start um, start doing yung another things mo. Like for example, if you're going to the gym, you can go as early as 6 p.m. pagkatapos mong ibaba yung laptop mo. And then if you want to hang out with your friends, di ba? So ang hirap kasi kapag work from home ka is nasa iyo lagi yung laptop mo. And then
Yeah.
nasa room ka or nasa bahay mo. And then sometimes as a software engineer, parang alam mo yung passion mo mag-develop, like parang gusto ko pa rin tapusin to. O kahit na sobrang haba na yung ginagawa mo. So ang very first na ginagawa ko is you turn off yung communications and then yung laptop. So I can always like move on to another personal life.
Okay. So as a follow-up on that, so since na-mention mo na rin, as a software engineer, you have, I think from other people I know that are software engineers as well, they really have that tendency na ituloy lang yun, ituloy yung work hangga't hindi tapos, or hangga't may dinadabag pa sila, hindi pa rin nag-work. So I think maybe you started that way, and then you had that rule na, okay, stop na talaga at this point. How do you develop that habit? Kasi mahirap talaga yan eh. Lalo na kung sanay na sanay ka na tuloy-tuloy lang yung work hanggat hindi pa rin siya tapos. Yung ganun.
Tama. Siguro inspiration na rin as experience ko na rin as working for like almost 6 years in the industry. Siguro yung inspiration or yung laging tatanda natin sa mind natin is yung mental health. Like babalik tayo dun sa past na mababurn out ka, alam mo yung pagdating ng Saturday, parang gusto mo pa rin mag-work kasi gusto na muna siyang matapos in the weekdays or the weekends. So gagawin mo siya sa bahay gagawin mo yung task mo sa bahay or sa Sunday, and then hindi mo na nabibigyan ng time yung other stuff or your personal life. So I think going back to those experience, it is very much a win-win situation if you were to stop or prioritize your personal health or mental health. Like for example, if hindi mo naman kaya siyang tapusin like at the end of the day, ngayong Friday or ngayong Saturday, malay mo matapos mo naman siya pagkatapos mo magpahinga. So it's like something like in return to yourself na mag-pause ka muna, and then after mo bumalik, you will be more like productive kasi nakapagpahinga ka na. So it's like a win-win situation between you and then the company, because you can work productive after mo magpahinga, and then after mo i-prioritize yung self or personal life mo.
Yeah, agree. Actually, yung mga simpleng lakad. Kasi before, di ba, when we were in the office, parang every lunchtime lumalabas tayo with our office mates. Ngayon parang nawala yun eh. Tapos, especially sa akin, parang nung last year or the past months, napapadalas yung pag-order ko. Tapos so hindi talaga ako lumalabas during the work hours. So tapos napansin ko itong few months din kasi nire-record ko yung steps ko. So napipilitan akong lumabas. Trinay kong lumabas para bumili sa karinderya or something like that. Parang after ko bumalik, parang mas nawawala yung antok compared to dati na buong 8 hours, 10 hours nakaupo lang ako.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah, that's right. No? So it's a win-win for both of you and the company.
Okay, so may question pa dito, sagutin din natin no, before we have our last questions for Jeff. Hold on, wala yung chat ko. Okay, specs for MacBook Pro, sir?
Specs for MacBook Pro. Yep. I'm using a MacBook Pro with an M1 chip. It has 16 gigabytes of RAM and 256 SSD. Yep, and it has a touch bar. Yep.
Sa M1 pala, kamusta naman yung packages? Like, may mga packages ba na hindi gumana nung una kang lumipat sa M1?
Yep, ayan, good question yun. So, meron pa ring mga limitations, I guess, sa mga applications na hindi mo ma-install sa M1 chip kasi it's ARM.
Yeah.
So, for example, meron akong ginagamit na SQL client na hindi ko siya ma-install kasi walang version for ARM. Siguro yun yung mga something na kailangan mong i-check kung ano yung mga ginagamit mong applications and if it's compatible with M1 chip. And I'm not too sure if it's related to M1, but sometimes meron mga nagka-crash na applications, and then sometimes nagka-crash yung MacBook. Hindi ko sure kung sa M1 yun. But for development, I think for example sa Python, I highly suggest using Docker.
Yeah.
For development kasi pwede siya sa ARM.
Yeah, I agree. I use Docker then para tawag dito, for work around dun sa mga packages na hindi nag-work. Yeah.
Okay. Siguro I'll ask the last question, no? So since did you work as a software engineer from the start? I mean, from the start of your career, software engineer na ka na ba talaga, or you had some?
Yep. Before I'm doing freelance, so I started developing web application or website. So I guess software engineer na siya agad.
Mm-mm.
And then for like my first corporate job, I started as like a junior programmer, but I technically that is software engineer. So
Mm-mm.
like maintaining of APIs, web portal or admin dashboard, backend services. So mostly software engineer. Yep.
Okay, so since, I mean, nandun ka na sa path na yun, no? I'm sure people will also ask, especially let's say fresh graduates or young professionals who want to go there. Maybe they are coming from the different field, or they're students trying to figure out kung ano yung career na para sa kanila. What advice can you tell them, especially those who are having second thoughts, or they're just not sure kung ano yung gusto nilang gawin sa
Mm.
career nila?
All right. So if you're planning to shift career, or if you're a graduate of STEM or IT, ComSci or IT, and then you're starting. So I highly suggest na mag-start ka ng gumawa ng project, or like meron mga tutorials online to do projects, and then try to do things like na merong output or deliverable or something na visually represented na output ng ginawa mo or project na yun. And then you can ask yourself, is this something that I like? Pero probably since natapos mo yung project, meron kang output, that's something that you like, right? Kasi if the very first beginning na hindi mo na-complete yung tutorial or yung project at sumuko ka na, you have to ask yourself kung gusto mo ba talaga maging software engineer. And then, yep, I recommend ko rin sa mga starters, sa mga fresh grad is to take it slowly. So marami kasing factor yung IT, or maraming branch yung IT, and then nagkakaroon ng times na since fresh grad ka, ang dami mong inaaral na tutorial, videos, training, and then you will stuck on this something like we call on tutorial hole. So stop doing tutorials and then start doing projects as early as possible. So yun yung mas mabilis na way para matuto or pumasok sa industry, because you don't need to do all those tutorials. You don't need to handle or learn all language. Just do something one step of the time, and then celebrate those small success. So yun yung mga recommend suggestion ko for fresh grad. And then for people who's starting to learn, or students, start using like GitHub, start using project management tools such as Jira for your own projects or your classmates' projects or school projects. So in that way, you have a hint of what we are using in the industry.
Yeah, I agree dun sa sa tutorials whole. Parang
Oh, yeah.
parang ako na-experience ko rin, ang dami kong languages, etc. trinay na try lang talaga na hindi siya materialize to an app or a back end or anything. So yeah. Tsaka agree din ako dun sa paggamit ng Git or kasi before nakapagturo din ako sa high school or college students, parang may seminar ako na ginawa doon. Parang hindi talaga sa kanila tinuturo. So I guess may mga tutorials naman na pwedeng mapanood, like instead na puro zip file,
Yeah.
final last
Yeah.
final yung yung project versions nyo. It's better to use Git talaga.
Yep.
All right, so that's it for our questions with you, Jeff. Thank you so much So this is for me a great conversation, and hopefully nag-enjoy ka rin as much as we did, no? Okay, so Zorx, can you reshare our um slides for towards the end? Yan.
Yep.
Okay. So for those of you guys who want to join our mailing list, so to receive latest PythonPH news and events, you can go to this URL. Okay, just copy this URL and yeah, you can join our mailing list. And also, if you enjoy or love work from home Pythonistas, we love to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts. We have this feedback form. So just fill up this form, and if there are good things, we'll appreciate and we'll do that more. And if there are some suggestions for improvements, we'll try our best as well to do that. And lastly, we have call for sponsors. So to support PythonPH and find out how work from home Pythonista can boost your brand, we have this sponsorship prospectus. Well, you can just email us if we can try to figure out what's the best sponsorship for you at info@python.ph. And for other things, you can always visit our website, python.ph.
All right. So, yep. So, Jeff, do you have any announcements to say to the participants? So, where will they find you?
Yeah. So for everyone who wants to follow me or have a chat with me, you can follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram at I am Jeff Paredes. So that's my username. And you can also check my repositories on GitHub using that username as well.
Van?
All right. So thank you so much again, Jeff, for joining us for today's event. That's all for today. Again, thank you so much as well for our participants here in Zoom and also in YouTube. So you can always rewatch our live stream in YouTube. Available naman siya anytime. And then see you again at the next episode of Work from Home Pythonistas. And happy weekend, everyone. Thank you.
Stay dry, guys. Stay dry.
Thank you, Zorex and Vani. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jeff.